It's the holiday season, and WGTE is celebrating in style with the Miro Quartet and their 2025 album entitled Hearth, presenting a collection of traditional carols and holiday favorites. Josh Gindele is the ensemble cellist. He's here representing to get this party started for us. Welcome, Josh, and thank you for joining me in a classical conversation.
Happy to be here.
We have a veritable potpourri of holiday tunes here. Really, really neat arrangements across the board. So maybe we start with an overview if you want to tell us about how this collection came together and who all had a hand in the making.
Sure. Yeah, this was a project that was sort of my personal brainchild about 10 or 12 years ago. I brought it to the quartet. I think there was some interest and some sense of curiosity and excitement about it, but getting 15 composers together, curating those composers to put together an album that makes sense, is cohesive, has different voices, but also just the nuts and bolts of, asking them, getting them to commit, making sure that they have contracts and due dates alongside, obviously recording session timing and scheduling, working with the record label. It was a very complicated process. Oh, well, and I forgot the most important part, which is figuring out how you're going to pay 15 composers to write 15 arrangements of Christmas favorites or holiday favorites. So it was a lot of work. And I just decided about 2.5 years ago that I was just going to get it done. And so it was a wonderful donor here in Austin where we live. We teach at the University of Texas during the year, helped us kind of get it together along with the quartet. And here we are today. It's was released last week on Friday. We've done a million albums. We've been nominated for Grammys and all of these things. But this one somehow is more special just because it was a personal goal for me and just did require so much effort.
Speaking to that personal aspect, do you feel like there's a carol or two that really resonates with you personally in the way that it connects you with the feeling of Christmas or the holiday spirit?
Yeah, there's a couple. I was so stunned by how people thought through these. So the first one that comes to mind is the arrangement of First Noel that Kevin Putz did. That's just such a beautiful, traditional holiday tune. And he is such a brilliant user of harmony, and he's just so creative with how he sees a tune and then can sort of reorchestrate it and make it different. He's a close friend of the quartet's, and we've worked with him for many years, and he's written us a number of pieces. So obviously that brings us closer to him. The second one that comes to mind, I'm going to do four. Hope you don't mind, because I can't pick one, is Gabriel Kahane did a really surprising arrangement of Lower Rose. What I love about it is he didn't state the carol itself until the very end. He used little fragments of it to create like a new work. Like it almost feels like contemporary quartet writing that is really beautifully colorful and creative and interesting harmonically. And you don't realize what it is until the very end. I know that it was very special for him to be able to arrange it for us because it's long been his favorite holiday tune. The third one is We Three Kings, or We Three, that Derek Skye did. We got to know Derek because he did some work when we did an album with a local choir called Conspirari. He looks at music through a very different lens. He is multicultural. He uses lots of Assyrian rhythms and harmonies and West African rhythms and things like that. And so you hear the tune and you know it, but it doesn't sound familiar. It doesn't even sound Western when you hear it because that's not how he writes. So for us, we had to learn a new language to make his music work. We had to kind of expand our own thinking as a quartet, a classical string quartet that plays Mozart and Beethoven. For that reason, actually kind of expanding our horizons and making us stretch a little bit as a quartet is special. And then the last one is the very last arrangement was by Hyung Ki Ju, who's a personal friend of mine. And I am just so drawn to it because it's absolutely stunningly brilliant. He manages to weave something like 22 different carols, sometimes on top of each other, along with traditional classical music of the season, all at the same time. I don't know of another composer who could do that as well as he did. So I'm grateful to call him a personal friend because I think he's an amazing guy. But this arrangement he did for us is really surprising. It's the best way I could describe it.
I will say that final piece, the Songs of Christmas Past, definitely put a smile on my face, especially when we get towards the end. And I'll ask for those listeners who may be curious about some of the panting and wheezing and raucous singing at the end. I mean, it sounds like a quartet just having a grand old time.
And the partridge in a pear tree.
It's great. And he's half of the duo, comedy duo, Gudusman and Jew. You can find them on YouTube. They blew up years ago. So he's kind of known for his comedy writing. What I think people don't quite understand because he is so funny and such a charismatic character is that he's a wildly skilled writer and composer and thinker of music. If you can listen to it once and accept it for what it is and sort of enjoy the comedy, enjoy the kind of silliness of it, but then maybe listen to it again and think, I wonder how he put all this together. And even as a quartet, the third or fourth or fifth time we played it, we'd be like, oh my gosh, he just weaved this other carol in here. And it's really, really stunning.
If I'm looking at kind of the bigger picture of Miro Quartet projects, you mentioned an album that you did with Conspirare. I'm thinking House of Belonging and your recent album Home. And now with Hearth, I'm getting a powerful feeling of togetherness. And the quartet has been together for, is it 30 years now?
30 years this fall. Yeah.
So what's it been like making music together for the past few decades?
It's been wonderful. We have a wonderful career, and the quartet is really like a family. We have very close personal relationships. We live together in a way because we're on tour so much. And we have the same problems, let's say a marriage or a family might have, and we have to deal with them. What makes our longevity so special is how well we take care of each other and how well we understand that, like, if somebody's not in a good place or we're not giving somebody what they need in their lives, then they can't show up to the quartet and make music with us in a meaningful and wholesome and like really give us 100%. That is priority number one, is making sure that everybody is in a good place and happy and doing projects they'd like to do and playing repertoire they like, not overstressing themselves, not missing kids' birthdays because we're on tour. I think it's meaningful. 30 years. I didn't realize how meaningful this year would be for us. But it's a big anniversary for us, and we still have some gas left in the tank, I think. so you'll see some more albums coming out and some more projects in the future. But this one in particular is a little bit of a departure, doing a holiday album. We're at the point actually in our career where we just do the things that we're passionate about and care about, and hopefully that comes across in our product.
I'm curious about what's coming up for you, and I was browsing the Miro Quartet website for some upcoming events. Ohio listeners might be especially interested in this. Did I see that you'll be stopping through Cincinnati?
Yes, we'll be in Cincinnati. I think that's next month actually. Yeah, we'll remain on tour. We've cut back a little bit. Three of us have children and families, and so, playing 120 concerts a year is no longer on the table for us while managing a teaching position at the university. So obviously that's still forthcoming. We're going to keep being on the road. We have some projects planned through Pentatone. They've been just an amazing partner to us for the last 7 or 8 years of really good, consistent work with them. So we have some recording projects in the future. I think a great tie into this album actually is that, we are a consistent commissioner of composers to write new music for us. We have a premiere coming up with Karen Slack, the soprano Karen Slack, by a composer in LA named Tamar Kali. And we have lots of new plans for commissions and adding to the repertoire. I think it's important. Obviously, Beethoven, Mozart, Brahms, Schumann, they all wrote great string quartets, but there's some voices now that we feel like need to be in that canon and need to be included in the repertoire. So that's been a priority of ours since our inception, and we generally commission at least a piece a year. So we have some things planned, including maybe some composers from this album that are included on Hearth.
Circling back to something you said right at the outset about the lead time it took to bring this album to fruition. I noticed the date of the recording was from May. So after all the arrangements were in rehearsals, etc., you recorded it in May. Paint the picture for me. Birds chirping, flowers blooming, and a couple of Santa hats in the mix.
Yeah, it was a bizarre time to record a Christmas album. It was really strange. I mean, we had to kind of get ourselves in the spirit. The good thing is that the hall we record in, we can shut off all the windows and things, so it's dark, and we just have stage lighting. So we literally set up a Christmas tree, and John, our violist, who loves to bake, baked gingerbread cookies. And we just wanted to get into that spirit, but it's hard, especially in Austin. So, May in Austin, we're talking like 90s. It's sunny. People are out swimming in the river. And so it was a little tricky, but the lead time for the album generally was pretty short. Composers are notoriously late, which we understood, and that's fine. So some of the arrangements we got as late as like mid-April, and then we had to rehearse them and get them into the studio. And then the turnaround from the studio to when the record label needs it to actually get it out by late November is also quite short. So I think we had all of the masters and editing and everything done, program notes, everything, I think by late July. Editing a holiday album in the heat and heart of summer while we're touring and traveling, it's very strange. My wife would, early on, I would just play it in the house, and she'd be like, "This is the strangest June ever." Like, why am I listening to holiday music right now? But it was on repeat because I was trying to get a feel for the album and if there was any tweaking or editing that needed to be done. So it was a strange period for sure.
Now we can unabashedly break out the holiday gear. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about Hearth?
The one thing that I think that I was so excited about was holiday music can be sort of watered down, or it can be kind of bland, or sort of like just straight ahead. And I love the care and the kind of curiosity, and the composers really took this challenge and made it something different and made it their own. Obviously we have a lot of wonderful holiday music that is vocally based. We have our traditional messiahs and Bach oratorios and things like that. But I think this is unique. I think it's unusual, and I'm super grateful to all 15 composers for taking on the challenge and being really creative and inspired with it.
I've I've been speaking with cellist Josh Gindele of the Miro Quartet on the new holiday album Hearth, which is out now on Pentatone Records. Thank you so much, Josh, for your conversation and just for adding that much more festivity into our holiday season.
Thank you for having me and us.